This video is brought to you by Sailrite. An outdoor rug is often the centerpiece of any exterior living area, as it softens the rough feel of the great outdoors. Pick a carpet that accentuates your outdoor living space. Then choose an outdoor fabric from Sailrite for the carpet's edging that will complement the decor, bringing the soft, cozy comforts of indoors to your outdoor living area. In this video, we'll show you the required steps to easily sew a fabric edging on some outdoor carpet. We are using an inexpensive outdoor carpet that we purchased from a hardware store. Sailrite's boat blanket material also works great for an outdoor rug application. Determine the desired size of the rug and cut the carpet to size with scissors or a sharp knife. Then use a Sharpie marker and place marks 3 inches from the raw edge of the rug. You will use those marks to strike a line across each side of the rug. These will be used to guide the fabric as it is sewn on. We are marking on the right side, top side of the rug. However, we found that marking the underside of the rug is the easiest way to install the edging, so please mark the bottom side of the rug instead. Why? Because when it comes time to sew, we will then be sewing the top side last, resulting in 2 advantages. 1, we will have only 1 stitch on the top side, while the bottom side will have 2 visible stitches. And 2, we can see where the stitch will be sewn along the hemmed edge of the fabric on the top side. We find it much easier to sew one continuous length of the decorative fabric onto the rug's edge. This continuous length makes the 90-degree turn at each corner much easier than they would be if you had to join lengths of fabric at each corner. So, do not cut individual edging strips for each side. To save on fabric usage, we will be cutting the fabric across the width. Here we are marking the width of the edging to 11 inches. Then we will strike a line at that location. The total length of the edging needs to be the perimeter of the rug plus about 12 inches extra to join the 2 ends together. To that total, we need to add even more to the length of the edging, as each turn at the corner will take up extra fabric to make the 90-degree triangular corner pleat. Here's a look ahead at the extra fabric that is required for each corner. Use this calculation to figure the extra fabric for the 4 90-degree turns or corners on your rug. If you are trying to save on fabric and are cutting strips across the width of the fabric, then we will use this calculation to figure the number of strips required. Let's simplify this illustration to a full equation for you mathematicians. If you are cutting across the width of the fabric to save fabric usage, use this calculation to figure the number of strips required to make the total length of edging required. To join the strips of edging panels together to form a continuous length, lay each panel on top of the opposite, so the outside surfaces are facing each other. Then take them over to the sewing machine and sew about a 1/2 inch from the raw edge of the fabric. We are using a Sunbrella upholstery fabric, and the edges of this fabric are not factory sealed, so we will sew about a 1/2 inch inside the good edge of the fabric, not counting the frayed edge. Repeat that process for all of the strips of fabric. We are sewing this to the top side of the rug, but it is better to sew the bottom side as mentioned earlier in the video. Lay the fabric along the line you struck down on the rug, so the wrong side of the fabric is facing out and the right side is facing the rug. We are going to use the deluxe magnetic guide to help guide this project as we sew. We will position the guide so we are sewing about 4 inches away from the raw edge of the rug. And notice that we did not start sewing at the end of the fabric edging, but started about 12 inches away from that end. This will make it possible to sew the opposite ends together in a later step. Now just carefully line up the edging to the line on the rug and keep the rug against the deluxe magnetic guide. If you don't have this magnetic guide, you can simply place masking tape on the bed of your sewing machine and use that to help you guide the assembly. Upon reaching a corner, stop a few inches from where the line was struck down on the opposite side and measure the distance from the fabric's edge to where the stitch was made. At that distance from the opposite side is where you will make the 90-degree turn and create the stitch on this side. Okay, now watch carefully as Angela creates the edging corner for this rug. The assembly must be removed from the sewing machine. So, to accomplish a nice folded corner, she lays the fabric over the opposite leg so a 45-degree fold is made in between. You can't see the 45-degree fold, so let's have her do it one more time so you can see what I mean. Next, sew that side in place starting at the fold/rug's edge. Notice that we do some reversing to lock the stitch in place when we start or end our sewing. Then sew down that leg, placing the fabric on top of the line that was struck down and keeping it up against the deluxe magnetic guide. When we reach the next corner, we will stop and repeat this process all over again. We have skipped ahead and are now showing the last corner. Directly opposite that corner is where we started sewing the fabric onto the rug. Sew down this leg, but stop sewing about 12 inches away from the starting fabric's opposite end. These two ends will need to be joined together prior to sewing it completely down to the rug. Angela will remove the assembly from the sewing machine and splay out the fabric so she can determine where the seam will be placed to join the two ends together. The seam will take up about a ½ inch of fabric on both sides. So she will ensure the fabric is flat and laying in the correct location with a fold placed about 1 inch over the end of the fabric on the underside. When she is happy, she will cut away the excess fabric, leaving just enough to join the fabric together with a ½ inch seam. So, when sewed together, it will lay perfectly on the rug without wrinkle or tight spots. She will mark the fabric with a marker to determine where the stitch should be made. We will fold the rug in a manner that will allow us to sew the two fabric ends together. Then sew right on top of the line or marks that we struck down on the fabric ends. As you can see, by leaving a small amount unsewn to the rug, it enables us to sew these two ends together. Leaving more unsewn would make it even easier, as we could pull more away from the rug as we sew. Now that it is sewn together, we can go back and sew the unsewn part to the rug to complete that side. Even though the edging has a lot of seams which were used to join the 54-inch sections together, this was done to save on fabric usage, those seams will be barely noticeable in the end. If you want to avoid that, you can cut down the full length of the fabric instead of across its width, as we did to save fabric. Next up, we will flip the rug and work on the other side. For us, the next side is the bottom, but we would have preferred to be working on the top side if we had it to do over. It's now time to flip the rug and work on the other side of the edging strip. Angela will explain how the corners will be folded here.
That one goes that way, then this one goes like that. That one goes that way.
More on this a little later. First, we will apply a double-sided tape or seam stick for canvas to the outside edge so we can create about a ½ inch hem around the perimeter. We're going to skip ahead and show basting the hem in place. Angela is pulling off the seam stick paper, revealing the glue, and folding the fabric back to create that hem. If everything is done correctly, the hemmed fold, when the fabric is pulled over the rug, should fall just slightly over the first stitch line that you created on the other side. If not, readjust the hem until it does. Now we will sew around the perimeter on this side of the rug, trying to keep the stitch in the same location as the first stitch. Use the Deluxe Magnetic Guide to help guide the sewing. Before reaching a corner, stop and fold the fabric as shown in the video. Then keep sewing to that corner. Bury the needle to the thickest part of the shaft in the fabric at the corner. Lift the presser foot and rotate the rug around so you can sew down the next leg. Lower the presser foot, then continue to sew. Once it is sewn all the way around, we will sew the folded portion of fabric at each corner. Our outdoor rug with fabric edging is complete. Coming up next is the materials list and the tools that were used to make this rug. As mentioned earlier, we picked up an outdoor-indoor area rug at a major hardware store near us. Since those rugs typically don't come edged, you can spruce it up with some great outdoor fabrics available at Sailrite. We love using Sunbrella, upholstery, or furniture fabric for any area rug application, but you will find many other great outdoor fabric brands on our website. Check it out! Add some elegance to your area rug with fabric edging from Sailrite that will complement the decor surrounding your rug to bring the assemblage together for the perfect look. For more free videos like this, be sure to check out the Sailrite website or subscribe to the Sailrite YouTube channel. It's your loyal patronage to Sailrite that makes these free videos available. Thanks for your loyal support. I'm Eric Grant, and from all of us here at Sailrite, thanks for watching.